Formula 1 returns to Suzuka for the 2017 Japanese Grand Prix, and with two Japanese-powered teams on the grid, there was high expectations from the home crowd. Toyota announced that Komario Kobayashi will now race alongside Lewis Hamilton for the next 2 seasons at least, as the popular Japanese driver now receives a new 2-year contract extension with Toyota. Thomas Aron returns to Sauber for the remainder of the 2017 season, and is eager to build on his debut finish of 14th back at the Belgian Grand Prix. He even stated that he believes he can take a points finish from Sauber in the remaining races of the season. Tensions are now reaching boiling point over at the Scuderia, as Jean-Eric Vergne's agent has publicly stated that if he loses the championship due to continued poor reliability from his Ferrari, Jean-Eric Vergne will walk from the team at the end of the season. BMW Williams also have high expectations from Josh Tiro, and state that anything less than a race victory, then Williams will turn their efforts to their challenger for the 2018 season, as Josh Tiro has slowly brought himself back into title contention. Championship leader Jean-Eric Vergne will start from pole position, and joining him on the front row will be defending world champion Josh Tiro. Pascal Wehrlein will start as the leader of the Mercedes from P3, with 5-time world champion Sebastian Vettel starting from P4. Robbie Kubica will start from 5th in the second of the Williams, with Max Verstappen, leader of the Red Bulls, only emerging 6th best in Q3. Lewis Hamilton will start lead of the Toyotas from 7th, and he's joined on row 4 by Fernando Alonso in the second of the Mercedes. Daniel Kvyat will start from 9th in the second of the Red Bulls, and running off the top 10 will be Lance Stroll in the lead of the Haas BMWs. Home favourite Komario Kobayashi will unfortunately get knocked out in Q2, only lining up 11th on the grid, and he's joined on row 6 by Nico Hülkenberg in the lead of the Renaults. Mick Schumacher will start from 13th, joined on row 7 by Carlos Sainz as the lead of the Toro Rossos. Sainz's teammate Pierre Gasly will start from 15th, and joining him on row 8 will be Daniel Ricciardo in the second of the Renaults. Bringing up the back 2 rows of the grid will be the usual suspects, with Rui Harianto in 17th, getting the better once again of Carmen Jorda has to settle for 18th on the grid. Running off the back row of the grid is Thomas Aron. Giovinazzi gets a 5-place grid penalty, but it makes no difference to his qualifying position. Hey guys, Tara here. Walking back to UniONE, this time round 16 for season 4, the Japanese Grand Prix. If you missed the race last time back out in Malaysia, definitely do go and check that out. Some rather interesting action going on in the pit lane at their previous race at Malaysia. Now looking onto this race, what can Jean-Eric Vergne do starting from pole position? I know tensions are reaching boiling point within Ferrari. His agent publicly stating that he could leave the team if he loses the championship with his poor reliability. Also about Lewis Hamilton, we know Hamilton has really been outperforming that Toyota on quite a few occasions throughout the season, and Komario Kobayashi as well. And now big pressure on the shoulders here of the 2008 world champion Japanese car at the Japanese Grand Prix. And what about Thomas Aron? Made a very good finish, finishing 14th on his debut back at Belgium. Now starting on the back row here, it's going to be quite difficult for Sauber to get anywhere close to the points, but I imagine that Thomas Aron and Giovinazzi will put in a strong showing once again. Now come back onto us, starting from P2, starting on the front row of the grid. Just getting out qualified by Jean-Eric Vergne, with Pascal Wehrlein starting in 3rd. So 3 different teams starting in the top 3 positions. Pretty much the top 3 teams currently in Formula 1, as you would say. Red Bull really haven't found the pace this season with that Cosworth power unit. Now it's waiting for the rest of the cars now to line up all the midfield cars, the Haas, Toro Rossos, and then the usual suspects of the McLaren Hondas. Don't look like they're going to really do anything to impress the home crowd at the home Grand Prix this time round. And then the 2 Saubers lining up on the back row of the grid. Just waiting for them now, coming now to the 5 red lights for the Japanese Grand Prix. Lights out, and away we go. Can we get a good start from P2? We haven't really got any good start so far this season. Like Jean-Eric Vergne's clear up going into now to turn 1 with Salazar with Pascal Wehrlein now going to turn Vergne's clear from the outside, going 3 right now with Vettel and Alonso. Alonso getting forced off the track there, and slotting behind. Now we're going side by side now with 5-time world champion Sebastian Vettel now as they come up through the sweeping S section. You've got Robbie Kubica right up behind. Final champion Vettel trying to hold it around the outside, with keeping on nosing just up the inside line, which is into the outside. But then now we had the inside line with Vettel there, manages to get us through the S section. Vettel really flexing the chassis and aerodynamics of that Ferrari to go up, use it to his advantage to get up now into P3, coming right into pressure now from our teammate Robbie Kubica, looking very racy off the start of this Grand Prix. Now as we come now through the Lesmos for the first time, Now coming up now into the hairpin, of course, is where Kobayashi made quite a few famous overtakes back in the 2011 Japanese Grand Prix in the Sauber. Now you've got yellow flags behind us. It looks like there's possibly been an incident further behind. Looks like everyone's still just about going. Now coming up now, so they pull around out the hairpin once again. Now we've got our teammate Robert Kubica looking very racy right up behind us now. Now we've got Kubica getting in on Slushy now, coming up now into the spoon corners. Because through here he's not going to be able to make an overtake, so he has to stick behind us. But if he can get a good run out of the second spoon here, then he'll get a good run in our slipstream now, on the back straight now into 130R, because we'll be getting slipstream off the back of Sebastian Vettel. Well, of course, no DRS coming up to 130R, purely on safety grounds. But Kubica really doesn't look to be gaining that much in a straight line, so pretty much even between me and Kubica in a straight line, as you would think, since we're in the same car. But now we've got Sebastian Vettel pretty much falling away from Pascal Wehrlein and Jean-Eric Vergne, already just romping away in the lead. But now we've got Pascal Wehrlein now in the slipstream of Jean-Eric Vergne, gaining in the slipstream of the championship leader. Can Pascal Wehrlein make the move coming down into turn 1? Vergne goes to defensive team of the line. Wehrlein having to try and go around the outside now into turn 1. Vergne going to try it around the outside. He can get forced on the track here. We'll keep it side by side with the championship leader Jean-Eric Vergne. But Vergne just manages to keep it on the inside line to keep into the lead for a bit longer. Pascal Wehrlein looking very racy off the start though. Now coming in now on the end of lap 2, start of lap 3. Now we actually put him now the fastest lap of the Grand Prix, getting in the slipstream now of Sebastian Vettel, of course, with the DRS now that is start of lap 3. Coming in turn 1, we're just a bit too far behind the fighter world champion to make a move. Coming in turn 1, we're all over the back now of the gearbox of Sebastian Vettel. We're dropping Kubica slowly. I mean, Kubica is still there, right up behind us in case anything goes wrong. He'll easily get past us, but he's not all over a gearbox like he was on the start of the first lap. Now coming through the S section, we're actually gaining on Wehrlein and Vergne up in front. Of course, the more they battle for the lead, the more this is going to allow Vettel, myself, Kubica and the train of cars behind us to catch up the two Toyotas, the two Red Bulls as well. Now as we actually go purple through the first sector, pretty much showing how much good pace we have. And of course, that's probably with the DRS down the start finish straight that we got off the back of Sebastian Vettel. Now coming up into the hairpin, we've caught right onto the back now of Pascal Wehrlein and Jean-Eric Vergne. So they really are slowing each other up. I mean, they're not even battling at this point now. They're just losing a lot of time. Imagine maybe taking a bit too much life out of the tyres too early on in this first stint, trying to battle for the lead of the Grand Prix. Now, because me and Vettel really haven't been battling, we've just pretty much been stuck behind him. We have probably got more life in our tyres now at this point than Wehrlein and Vergne up in front. But now coming down up now the back straight once again, coming up to 130, we're gaining quite a lot in the slipstream. Sebastian Vettel can try and make a move coming up to 130. If we can get close enough in the slipstream, we know the might of our BMW power unit is just quite enough on the inside. We have a look on the inside. Sebastian Vettel, we're not quite close enough there to make a move because pretty much we still get a decent run out of 130R actually. You know, still all over the back of Sebastian Vettel. But now we'll have DRS now down the start finish straight on the 5-time world champion with Pascal Wehrlein. Once again, we'll have DRS now on Jean-Eric Vergne coming down. It's turn 1. Vergne once again goes defensive to the inside line. Pascal Wehrlein trying to go around the outside now. Jean-Eric Vergne coming to turn 1. He's made the move stick around the outside. Vergne's made the move stick into turn 1. And now Vergne moves up into the lead of the Grand Prix. Pascal Wehrlein now leading for Mercedes. We've actually got them into third now, so we managed to get past Sebastian Vettel in that as well, down the start finish straight. So both the Ferraris losing positions down the start finish straight, but Vergne, we know, we'll be keen to get that lead back, of course, since that Ferrari does have the better chassis and aerodynamics. We see we're already pulling away from Sebastian Vettel there, so maybe it's just finding some good pace through the S section. We know the Williams does work in high speed corners, just not in low speed and medium speed corners work. So now coming through the Lesmos here, this is pretty much where Vettel has the advantage. You can see he's already closed back down the advantage that we gain on him through the S section. All over the back, now coming up into the hairpin. He's going to try and make a dive bomb move up the inside. Now we go defensive to the inside line to block off any attack from the 5-time world champion. And now Robbie Kubica and Lewis Hamilton actually behind in the Toyota are keeping relatively close. So Hamilton really is trying to put on a good showing here for the home crowd, of course, being in the Toyota. Now coming up now into spoon curve once again. Can Vettel try and keep closer, try and make a move back past us down the main straight? Of course, we're at the slipstream here. Of course, once again, no DRS down this back straight, so it's become pure slipstream. We're actually pulling away though from Sebastian Vettel. See, just using the might of our BMW power units. Now, hopefully, Kubica can get somewhere close now to Sebastian Vettel, try and make a move on the Ferrari as well. Now coming up now into 130R, through 130R, now coming up into the braking zone for the second chicane. Vettel just has to stick behind us. Now coming a bit further on, we've still got Jean-Eric Vergne actually trying to catch up now to Pascal Wehrlein. So Vergne, despite getting into the lead of the race, really isn't actually pulling away all that much, and Vergne still kept pretty much within the DRS range. Managing the DRS is what's keeping Vergne within range of the Mercedes in front. And now Vergne with DRS is even close to trying to make a move coming down into turn 1, gaining in the switching on the back. Now Pascal Wehrlein can gain quite a bit on the back of the Mercedes now. Coming down to turn 1, Vergne can go around the outside line. Vergne goes to the outside line, forces it round, goes to Vergne spun. Vergne, can you hold it? No, Vergne spun onto the grass, found the lead of the Grand Prix. Calamity for the German from the lead of the Grand Prix. Sure, he's going to drop down to someone near the back now. You've got the two Red Bulls going past now. Bit of a quiet gap now to the other cars in front, but Vergne thankfully hasn't stalled the car at least. but now he's just stuck on the grass now, waiting for absolutely everyone else to go past. I think everyone's got past. I think Verne's actually dropped down now to last place in this race. Now moving further on now to lap 7, now got Jean-Eric Vergne pretty much in a clear lead now of the race. We've got Sebastian Vettel now in the Ferrari now trying to come back at us now. Going now into 130, just a bit too far behind us, and Vettel just has to be patient and stay behind us now. We can't even see Vergne is that far in front. And now coming on now, we should be going to the pits at the end of this lap actually. And then indeed we do now come into the pit lane. And I've got Sebastian Vettel following us in right behind, so Vergne in the lead is staying out for another lap. So Ferrari being Vettel in first, trying to get an undercut possibly, trying to jump us in the pits. But now we're coming in now for another set of the super soft tyres. And now we're coming out now back onto the track. And so we've kept ahead of Sebastian Vettel. He's also kept on the set of super soft tyres as well. So it's like a 2-stop for ourselves and Sebastian Vettel. I think the Toyota of Hamilton behind as well, but I didn't quite see what tyres Hamilton is coming back out on. Now come down the track, we're going to come out in clear air. Can't quite see any cars. We've now got someone coming up. We've got one of the TYRES coming out now into turn 1. We get a nice padding view here of the long sweeping left-hander of turn 1. That's really kept crucially ahead of the TYRES on medium tyres, so a slower car on slower tyres really not what we need. Now actually got one of the Hasses in front of us. Can't quite see which Hass that is. Might be Mick Schumacher actually. Try and go around the outside of Mick Schumacher through the section. Use an all new-found grip to our advantage. We've just gone quite close enough to the back of the German. And indeed it is Mick Schumacher in front of us in the Hass. And of course, we've seen a lot of Mick Schumacher recently. When he's come out of the pit. Schumacher on medium tyres as well. They'll be going a lot slower than what we do. So hopefully the Haas team tell Schumacher to not hold us up now, coming up now into the hairpin and going for a dive on the inside actually of Mick Schumacher, because Schumacher leaving the door wide open. Of course, why wouldn't he, since he's in the Williams BMW B team. So now we move up into P4 and we can check out Nico Hulkenberg, who's currently in the podium position of course on the medium tyres. So imagine that everyone who started on the medium tyres is going for a 1-stop. So theoretically Hulkenberg's only got one more stop left to make, so as it stands Hulkenberg's currently in front of us for net position and Schumacher's net position behind us as well. But now we've got Jean-Eric Vergne coming into the pits now for his first stop of the race, 1 lap later after. So has the overcut managed to work for the current championship leader? Going into another set of the super soft tyres as well. There's absolutely no one else in the pit lanes and no one else near Jean-Eric Vergne, so you have to see if any battle markers come down the straight when Nico Hulkenberg comes out, because Hulkenberg starting on the medium tyres. There goes one of the Toyotas now goes through, so where's Vergne going to come out? He's going to come behind us. There's the Renault of Nico Hulkenberg coming out into turn 1, and Vergne's going to come out crucially behind the Renault of Nico Hulkenberg. And we see we're coming through the paint shot once again of the right-hander of turn 1 and coming out just behind Jean-Eric. So Vergne has managed to get the overcut on us, but I think we've gained a net undercut. So I think we've gained time on the championship leader, but Vergne getting held up massively here by the Renault of Nico Hulkenberg through the S section. Of course, Hulkenberg, like I said, is in front for net position, so Hulkenberg is out to fight his position. This isn't blue flags, he doesn't have to get out of the way. He can fight for this position as much as he wants. Now coming up now through the Degners 1 and 2, we've seen him closing right in the back of Jean-Eric Vergne as we go purple through the first sector as well, so pretty much proving how much pace we have on these super soft tyres. Now coming up now into the hairpin just to stick behind the Renault. We've still got Mick Schumacher behind us in the Haas, so hopefully Schumacher can do a good job of holding up the cars behind. Apart from our teammate Robert Kubica, of course, hopefully he can try and hold up Sebastian Vettel in the Ferrari. But Vergne looking very racy behind the back of Nico Hulkenberg. Of course, why wouldn't he be, since the Ferrari is such a faster car over a lap than what the Renault is. But I imagine that Renault might be running a lower drag setup to try and keep with the Toyotas and Hasses. So the Renault might actually be pretty slippery in a straight line. Now got Vergne gaining in the slipstream on the back. Oh, the Renault is going to pull to the inside now of Nico Hulkenberg, coming up now to 130. Can make the move, stick up the inside of the German. He was so close, almost contacting them, but Hulkenberg balls the steel, keeps it right around the outside and going for a dive on the inside of Jean-Eric Vergne coming into the hairpin, just not quite close enough to make a move on the inside of Jean-Eric Vergne coming into the chicane. And that's actually lost Vergne quite a bit of time behind Nico Hulkenberg, but of course we'll have DRS, so Vergne should be able to make an easy move on Nico Hulkenberg coming down into turn 1. Of course we'll still have DRS on the back of Jean-Eric Vergne, but Vergne will have the slipstream off the back of Hulkenberg in front. Now coming to turn 1, Hulkenberg still not close enough, and Vergne brake checks us in the middle of the corner. So Vergne getting very dirty behind us now. We're thinking, don't know why Vergne's taking the risk of brake checking us into the first corner. Now coming up through the S section, we're already right up behind the back of Nico Hulkenberg once again. And of course, despite that Renault may be a low drag, but of course that's a compromise. I've had time to go on the inside now. Oh, Jean-Eric Vergne keeps side by side now. Jean-Eric Vergne's run off the track, just about holds it on the gravel. Great car control there from the championship lead, and once again that's just costing us even more time now as Pascal Wehrlein puts up the fastest lap of the Grand Prix, but Wehrlein's absolutely out of this race now. He's nowhere near us. He's half a lap behind us. That's how much time he lost spinning out of the lead into turn 1. And then once again coming up into the hairpin, just have to stick behind Jean-Eric Vergne. I imagine Vergne's face right now is pretty much as red, if not redder, than his Ferrari car, but being stuck behind the Renault. Of course, this isn't the first time Ferraris have been stuck behind Renaults. Remember back to to the 2010 Grand Prix with Alonso in the Ferrari stuck behind Petrov in the Renault for pretty much the entire race, which ruined his championship chances with that Renault just an absolute beast in a straight line, despite not having the arrow through the corners where Alonso couldn't make a move, and now Verne struggling to make a move. And he's actually going to pull side by side once again with Nico Hülkenberg. See that Renault's got some pretty good top end speed. They're pretty much maxing out at the same speed. And once again, Hülkenberg going to hold it round the outside of his Jean-Eric Verne into the final corner. We're trying to look for a move on the inside of Jean-Eric Verne, just filling up the mirror, trying to play him off once again. But I think Verne will be wise to that move now. And once again, Hülkenberg will try and do his best to defend from Jean-Eric Verne. We'll have DRS once again, but this time we're a lot closer to Nico Hülkenberg, and we're a lot closer to Jean-Eric Verne as well. Now Verne will have the DRS once again. Now Hülkenberg goes defensive to the inside line. Now Verne's going to try and hold it now around the outside to go for the nice paint shot once again, but Verne runs out wide and leaves the door wide open, and now we steam up the inside of Jean-Eric Verne. It's a costly mistake there for Jean-Eric Verne. Imagine Verne's going to be furious with that mistake he just made, leaving the door wide open, trying to go around the outside, getting forced out. And it's Arthur now to try and make a move on Nico Hülkenberg around the S section, try and hold it around the outside, like we tried to make Schumacher if he loves to go going up through the S section. We just have to stick behind the German through now. Now we're actually back up into a podium position, so Hülkenberg's currently in a podium position, so if Hülkenberg can try and hold this, he's doing a mighty defensive job, then Hülkenberg and Renault might even be on for their first podium since Daniel Ricciardo's win last season at Singapore. Now going up into the hairpin and trying to go for a dive like doing Mick Schumacher. Now Hülkenberg does well to defend to the inside line. He doesn't quite get the traction out of the corner though. He still gets a pretty decent run. And now coming up now into the straight now into the spoon curves. He's going to have to stick behind Hülkenberg through here because we're not quite close to Hülkenberg sparking away that Renault dragging along the floor. Of course we're still on heavy fuel at this point in the race, so the floorboard will be scraping along the floor of the track at this point. And now we'll get a good run out onto 130 now, coming up the straight now into 130, pulling alongside now. Nico Hülkenberg can try and make a move. Can we try and make the move that Jean-Eric Verne has failed to do now twice in a row? Now coming up the inside, Hülkenberg try and hold it around the outside once again. Can we side by side? We just managed to get in front of the Renault of Nico Hülkenberg and try and come back at us now. So balls of steel once again from Nico Hülkenberg. Gets forced up onto the curb there, gets a poor run. But now Hülkenberg will have DRS to come back at us because now we've seen this Renault's pretty slippery in a straight line. But now can Hülkenberg with DRS now try and come back at us once again? He's got DRS now wide open with Jean-Eric Verne right behind him. We have to go defensive to the inside line. Hülkenberg can try and hold it around the outside now, coming up into turn 1. We just have to back off it. It hasn't got the tyre life, hasn't got the grip and the downforce to hold it on the inside in that Renault. Now we try and keep ahead of Nico Hülkenberg. Now we actually got Komario Kobayashi leading the Japanese Grand Prix. And we know he just got a new contract extension with Toyota for the next 2 years. And now coming to the Japanese Grand Prix in a Japanese car, leading in front of the Japanese home crowd. Imagine this is probably the best race of Komario Kobayashi's life. I mean, this isn't the first time he's led a Grand Prix. Remember back to Canada, I think it was round 7 Canada of this season, where Kobayashi actually led a Grand Prix for the first time in his F1 career. Now he's actually leading his home Grand Prix. So imagine this is going to mean a lot more to the popular Japanese driver than leading at Canada. And Kobayashi also bring the Toyota car has been steadily improving throughout the season, of course, doing a lot better now with their own power units than the previous AMG power unit that they had for the first half of the season before they brought their own car. And now Komario Kobayashi coming down the back straight now to 130. He's not making any mistakes whatsoever. Actually putting in some pretty solid laps, it looks like, although we are gaining on the back of the Toyota because the BMW Williams is a faster car over a lap. Of course, Kobayashi on the medium tyres as well. So Kobayashi looking to do a one-stop in this race, I'd imagine, being on the medium tyres, trying to get, which is actually starting in 11th, actually been a good thing for Kobayashi. Now you can do the one-stop. And we know that Toyota is a really fast car as well. Now coming down the start finish straight, now we're seeing Kobayashi has now officially led a lap of his home Grand Prix. Now it's actually put up a green up, so our personal best lap now of the race. Actually got yellow flags now deployed, DRS now disabled, so actually got a VSC called out. Quite interesting, so that's going to nullify the pace and give Kobayashi the lead for quite a bit longer actually, depending how long the VSC lasts. Now moving on to lap 14, the VSC has now ended, and now we're catching up now to the back of the popular Japanese driver. And now we've still got Nico Hülkenberg in P3, still holding up Jean-Eric Verne, so amazing defensive drive from Nico Hülkenberg, probably even better than what we did back at Singapore in Season 1 in the manner to take the win of the race. And now yellow flags, a huge traffic jam, everyone's just slowing down to a snail's pace now. Kobayashi stuck behind the car in front because yellow flags, so we can't overtake. Now we're going at absolute snail's pace now. It's like a Sunday car park at Tesco, we're going that slowly. Going through inside, looks like one of the cars pulling off the outside. That's actually one of the Mercedes. So it looks like a Mercedes there with a huge mechanical issue. And now that's allowed Nico Hülkenberg and Jean-Eric Verne to catch right into the back. Now this gap that we pulled to the Renault pretty much has been nullified. And now Hülkenberg once again has to worry about defending now from Jean-Eric Verne and the car behind, which I think is our teammate Robert Kirchhoff. Notices the other Ferraris there, so Vettel now brought himself right back into the race now with that Mercedes parking it on the absolute racing line. Of course, Komario Kobayashi didn't know what to do, just thought it wise to stick behind But now Hulkenberg will have DRS on the back of us because it's a VSA, so DRS will be back enabled immediately once again. So Hulkenberg actually has DRS on the back of us. This match helping keep in front of Jean-Luc Vergne once again. Now Vergne gaining installation on the back of the Renault coming down into turn 1 once again. Vergne isn't close enough to make a move on Nico Hulkenberg. And got Sebastian Vettel stuck right up behind the two of them. And then our teammate Robbie Kubica as well. But now moving on to lap 16 now, so over the halfway point now in this Grand Prix. Now gaining installation on the back of Kamui Kobayashi. Of course, Kobayashi, we know that that Toyota power unit is an absolute monster in a straight line, even without a low drag Toyota, so it's not going to be the easiest move in the world to try and make a move on this Toyota up in front, but we're in a good position as it stands. We need to win this Grand Prix if Williams are to continue their development of the car for this season. Now we're coming into the pits at the end of this lap, giving the call there to our Jeff, our engineer, gaining installation quite a lot on the back of Kamui Kobayashi. There's pretty much no point going for a move on it since we're going to the pits. Now getting on the back now, Kobayashi going to brake early to make a move on the inside, getting very close to the gearbox of the popular Japanese driver's car. Now once again confirming to our engineer that we'll pit now at the end of this lap. Looks like Vergne behind us is staying out for another lap, so he's going to get stuck up behind Kobayashi. Now once again Vettel is coming in behind us. Now it's going to be a battle of the pit crews once again between Ferrari and Williams, but this time we have got a much bigger buffer to the Ferrari behind. They're going to a set of soft tyres now, which should take us to the end of the Grand Prix. There's like a few of the pit crews coming out, so it's like one of the Toyotas behind coming in once again. Now let's come back on track. Are we going to get stuck behind any of the midfield cars this time? Hopefully we try and get a good pit stop. Of course, we need a blistering lap here trying to keep in front, trying to jump Kobayashi. We know we're still not coming down. So we've got one of the Mercedes coming down into turn 1. They're going to come out right in front of us. Don't know if that's the Mercedes that had the problem earlier on, but either way we have a Mercedes, so hopefully if it's the one that's in front of us then they'll surely get blue flags, but no, that's Pascal Wehrlein, so that's for position. So Fernando Alonso was the Mercedes that had whatever issue was going on earlier, so that's Wehrlein on set of soft tyres, currently back up now into P6. Actually, just notice we've got Thomas Laurent behind us in the Sauber on medium tyres, currently in P8, so we know Thomas Laurent's eyeing up a points finish in his F1 debut season. He actually might be on for it if he can just put up a mega defensive drive, because you know that Cosworth power unit can be decent if it's running at max engine mode. Thomas Laurent's going to put up a mega defensive if he wants to try and take points from this race. And of course Wehrlein, I'll say soft tyres, will have to stop again in this race, so despite Wehrlein being ahead of us, he's probably effectively a pit stop behind us at this point, because I think he will have to stop again. And they're coming on now 3 spoon cars. We are gaining in slipstream now as Lewis Hamilton puts up the fastest lap in the Grand Prix, so pretty much proving that Toyota does have some really great pace in this race. Toyota and Hamilton putting up the fastest lap there for Toyota. Now looking at Vergne in the other Ferrari, now coming up into the pit now behind the other Toyota of Kamui Kobayashi. That's going to be a pit lane battle between Toyota and Ferrari. And Vergne coming out on a set of the medium tyres. And imagine that Kobayashi is coming out on a set of soft tyres as well, but Kobayashi has actually been jumped by Vergne in the pit, so a good stop there from Ferrari. We're seeing their championship leading man jump Kamui Kobayashi in the pit lane, but as it stands, Kobayashi might actually come back out in a net podium position. Coming back now in turn 1, we've easily passed them now into turn 1 and got a mega outlap. Coming now through turn 1, so you're another car in front of us, so I think it's one of the Hasses once again. This time so it's actually Lance Stroll, so it's the other Haas this time. It's Lance Stroll now getting it in stage 3, and they're going to go right around the outside of Lance Stroll through the S section. And I look like Stroll lift off, so I imagine that Haas would have got straight onto the radio to Lance Stroll to then to back off and give us the space around the outside line, because now we move into what should be, once they've made the pit stops, a net lead of the Grand Prix, with Jean-Luc Vergne in second and Kobayashi actually in P3 as well. So Kobayashi, as it stands, is still on the podium, so Kobayashi, they're doing wonders in front of the home crowd once again, matching beyond to match his best ever finish in Formula 1, which was 3rd place here in 2012 in the Sauber as well. So this looks like it is a really good track for Kobayashi, as it seems. And coming out the hairpin, gets a pretty good run as well to try and pull away. But now coming a bit further on, we're still in the lead of the Grand Prix, but as you can see, there's a huge trail of smoke coming out the back of our BMW Williams, so something's definitely wrong with our car, but the team haven't told us anything yet, so imagine there's something else. Hopefully it's not a terminal issue. Then we have Jean-Luc Vergne in P2 in the Ferrari, still trying to chase us down on the soft tyres. And then we have Kobayashi in P3 on, actually on the set of super soft tyres, trying to chase down after Jean-Luc Vergne, I imagine, is powered on by the will of the home crowd. Then we have Sebastian Vettel currently in P4, and the teammate Robbie Kubica on a set of soft tyres, currently just up behind in P5. Then we have Hamilton in the second of the Toyotas in P6 on a set of super soft tyres. And then we have the lead of the Renaults, which is Nico Hulkenberg. So Hulkenberg on a set of soft tyres, doing well to keep it in front of the Red Bull of Max Verstappen. Of course, this isn't the first time these two have been together on the track. Remember back to the first race of the season. These two are met on the same piece of track as well. And now we've got Verstappen getting his position. This is because of power v Renault power, and because of power with Red Bull trying to go around the outside. Verstappen just hasn't got the downforce and the confidence, surprisingly, to hold it around the outside. Then we had the lead of the TYRES, which is currently Pierre Gasly. And then we have the lead of the Hasses, which I think is actually Mick Schumacher, so Sean must have made a late pit stop in this race. Then we have the second of the Renaults of Daniel Ricciardo. He's now got one of the Mercedes for company, so look at the Mercedes off Pascal Wehrlein for company, so imagine Ricciardo's going to have a pretty difficult time defending from Wehrlein. Then we have the second of the Hasses of Lance Stroll. Then we have the lead of the McLaren Hondas, quite somewhere down the order, definitely not matching the Toyotas in this race. And then we have the lead of the Saubers, which is currently Thomas Laurent. Then we have Daniel Kvyat on medium size, way down the order. So once again, for 2 seasons in a row, Daniel Kvyat having a nightmare race here at Japan. Then we have Carlos Sainz in the second of the TYRES, quite some way down the order as well. And then we have Giovinazzi in the second of the Saubers. Then we have Carmen Jorda all the way at the back of the grid in a complete no man's land of her own. Just really not finding any pace in this race. And then we actually have Fernando Alonso still at the back of the Grand Prix, of course, 1 lap down after that nightmare. What that happened with his car earlier on. But cutting a bit further out onto lap 23. I don't know if you can tell because our car's painted white, but it's actually now raining, and now we're gaining in the slipstream on the back of Carmen Jorda, I think, to put her a lap down. Now Carmen Jorda, once they're going to park it on the absolute apex, where it's a slam on the brakes to not slam into the back of the McLaren Honda. And now we've got Jean-Luc Vergne gaining on slipstream right up back and behind us now, because DRS still enabled, we're on dry tyres. But we know we're massively down on power with our smoke trail coming out of the back of our cars, and Vergne's going to be getting a face full of engine oil or whatever's wrong with the back of the car. See the smoke going into Jean-Luc Vergne's face now. He pulls out our slipstream, defensive side. We're so much down on straight line speed. Now coming down his turn one, just managed to defend to the inside from Jean-Luc Vergne, but Vergne in that throw is all over us now, getting an absolute face full of smoke from whatever wrong with us. Surely our engine's not overheating, because surely it would have gone by now. So surely it must be like the turbocharger or something is pretty much going with how much this is smoking. And now in P3 we've still got Kobayashi. He's now coming up to lap the McLaren Honda. Of course, you know we've got the in-country rivalry between Toyota and Honda. And this is going to be pretty frosty, I imagine, Team 2. And see, still got the smoke trail from the back of our car still lingering on the track surface. And Carmen Jorda really is not getting out of the way of Kobayashi. I mean, no, the rivalry between these two will be pretty frosty and intense, but I didn't think it'd be this bad. And now Jorda finally lets Kobayashi through, but now pulls back in front of 5-time world champion Sebastian Vettel. We know how Sebastian Vettel feels about his blue flag situation, so he's very much really not going to be happy whatsoever being stood behind the McLaren here of Carmen Jorda. Now Kobayashi actually pulling away now into the absolute distance, already pulled almost a second, I'd say, on the McLaren Honda, and Sebastian Vettel stuck behind, and Carmen Jorda still isn't getting out of the way of Sebastian Vettel at this point. And coming in now through sprint cars, we've got our teammate Robbie Kubica, then Hamilton stuck right behind the two of them as well. Now Carmen Jorda finally pulls to the inside, and that's going to ruin Sebastian Vettel's chances now trying to take the podium from Kamui Kobayashi. He's pulling away now about a second gap. Now got our teammate Robert Kubica looking up the inside now into 130. He's outside, there's cut down to them. Kobayashi's lost it. Kubica's getting to the barrier. Kubica's smashed it into the barrier. He's lost his front wing. What dramatic scenes here. Calamities for Robert Kubica. Like he's pulling off to retire, actually. He's backed up to the marshals, but now I think he's coming back onto the track now, trying to find a way back on track. Of course, he's stuck at a really awkward angle, actually. You have to pretty much do a half donut, try and get back onto the track now. So he's pretty much getting back onto the track now. Looks like he's stalled it once again. Looks like he's having trouble getting going. They've got one of the Hasses and one of the Renaults just managed to get through. And now Kubica finally does manage to get going once again. Lost his front wing. And now he's going to have to pit now for a new front wing. And that's ruined any chance of Kubica trying to steal the podium from Kobayashi. They're trying to get up the inside into 130 in the wet. Just hasn't got the grip. So honestly, I'd have to say that's a racing incident, and then we've got Daniel Kvyat and the Red Bulls finally making his move past our teammate. So once again, for 2 years in a row, our teammate and Daniel Kvyat having nightmare races here at Japan. And now the other team going to retire him and send him out on the new front wing and give him a set of super soft tyres. Man, that's just protocol, always changing the tyres. So they're going to give Kubica a new front wing, and they're actually going to send him back out again. I mean, fair play to Williams. Want to see, imagining Kubica wants to at least finish the Grand Prix. If the car isn't too much damage, they're going to imagine send him out and see now if anything happens with the car. Now going on to lap 26, we're still smoking away, and we've still got Jean-Luc Vergne right behind us, and Kobayashi is still holding on to his podium position. We've actually got yellow flags up in front of us though, so I think someone may be getting a huge bit of oversteer though, so I imagine someone may come off the track, because with how tricky the conditions are now, it wouldn't really surprise me now. I can still get yellow flags up. We've got a car going absolutely slowly on the mini map, as you can see. We've got a car going massively, going to breathe right inside of them. Now our teammate into the pits once again. So imagine that Williams are coming now just to retire Kubica from the race. Imagine there's just too much damage with the heavy impact from the wall. But you can see on the minimap behind us, Jean-Luc Vergne, everyone else is stuck in that queue of cars right up behind. that Renault, I think it was. So, and now looking back now, as Jean-Eric Verne, we've absolutely pulled massively away from him. Now we've got one of the Mercedes now putting up, trying to unlap himself. The Mercedes on intermediate tyres. Alonso trying to unlap himself now from Sebastian Vettel. They're going side by side with Komario Kobayashi now into 130. He'll be side by side with 130. Komario Kobayashi to hold it around the outside of the track. He's off the track, and Komario holding it right around the outside. He just about gets it back on track in front of Sebastian Vettel as well. They're coming up now into the braking zone. It looks like it clearly is time for intermediate tyres, but there's absolutely no point pitting now. Coming onto the final lap now of the Grand Prix, I'm pretty sure no one else is coming into the pit lane. And Kobayashi has kept it in front somehow of the Mercedes. I'm sure the team is going to be screaming at him now to let the Mercedes go into turn 1, because there's no point fighting them. The Mercedes are a lap down. They're coming down into turn 1. The Mercedes of Alonso trying to make a move up the inside, and Kobayashi runs off the track once again, can try hold it off the track, just about hold it, gets a bit of slide on, and just managed to hold it. Kobayashi, amazing car control there from the Japanese driver. Now we've got Johnny Verne in P2, trying to hold it now on the final lap of the race. Now we see going opposite lock, trying to turn left around a right-hander. That's really not something you want to do. Now we've got the Mercedes of Fernando Alonso right up behind the back now of the championship lead. I imagine Ferrari just going to tell Verne the same thing just to let Fernando Alonso go on the same medium size, because there's absolutely no point them holding up Alonso, trying to almost possibly causing an incident between the two of them. But Alonso's stuck right up behind the back of the Ferrari now, coming up now through the two Dagners. You can't even see it from the distance now. That's how much time Jean-Eric Verne lost, stuck behind that car with like it had a puncture. Now Alonso moves to the inside. Jean-Eric Verne coming up to happen. Verne's going to try and hold it up the inside line. I mean, fair play to him. He's still premium with that. Premium wide. I don't know why Alonso is trying to unlap himself. He's not going to accomplish anything. He's still a lap down to us. Now Alonso does make the move around the outside though of Jean-Eric Verne. But now come back onto us. We've only got one more sector left to go. Just slide it around to try and get our dying, smoking car to the end of this race. We're pretty much doing this race now on no turbocharger, but imagine having less power in the wet conditions. It might actually be doing us a favour, so we're getting less wheel spin on our slick tyres on the wet track. They're coming up now around 130 for the final time. We managed to thankfully not spin out. They're coming up now into the chicane for the final time. Hopefully don't get a corner cut warning or anything, or a penalty for corner cuts. We managed to get around the final chicane. Pretty much trying to put the power down now for the final time. And now coming up now to finish line around the final corner. Now they're going to take the slowest victory of our Formula 1 career, but we finally take our first victory of the 2017 season, and it could not have come at a more crucial time in the championship, with Jean-Eric Verne coming across the line in P2. And there you can see the Williams boys looking very happy with our race victory. Imagine somehow managing to get our smoking car to the end of the Grand Prix, but that might result in a penalty for the next few races, depending on if they can fix whatever's wrong with our car. Because we have got another part left of whatever it is, but we finally would take our first victory of the 2017 season and get even closer to the lead of Jean-Eric Verne in the championship standings. Taking a look at the race results, and we would take our first victory of the 2017 season. 8 seconds clear as Jean-Eric Verne comes home in second, and Komario Kobayashi rounding off the podium for Toyota in third. Sebastian Vettel has to settle for fourth, with Lewis Hamilton coming home in fifth in the other Toyota, so a very good day all round for Toyota, for the Japanese home crowd. Max Verstappen finishes where he started in P6, with Nico Hülkenberg finishing in 7th as the lead Renault, with Mick Schumacher in 8th as the lead Haas. Pascal Wehrlein will recover back up to 9th, with Pierre Gasly in 10th. Lance Stroll 11th in 2nd of the Haas, and Thomas Laurent in the Sauber. We're taking a points finish, another point for Sauber, and taking points on his second race in Formula 1. Daniel Kvyat will come home down in 13th after doing a 3 stop, so one more stop cost Daniel Kvyat a points finish, but only just by 2 seconds, with Rui Harianto coming home in 14th, doing the best he can in that underpowered McLaren Honda. Robert Kubica will still be classified finisher despite being retired on the final lap, with Carlos Sainz coming home in 16th, Giovinazzi in 17th in the second of the Saubers, and Carmen Joya in 18th, with Daniel Ricciardo in 19th and Fernando Alonso in 20th, 2 laps down. Despite not winning the Grand Prix, Jean-Eric Verne increases his net championship lead over teammate Sebastian Vettel, back up to 23 points now over a race victory clear of his teammate. And now we get back up into P3 with 168 points, only 4 points behind Sebastian Vettel. Fernando Alonso drops back down now to 4th on 150 points, with only 14 points clear now of teammate Pascal Wehrlein, who's in 5th. Then come the two Rebels, with Kvyat in 6th on 111 points, Verstappen in 7th on 93. He actually gets ahead now of our team at Robert Kubica by 1 point. With Hamilton now moving up into 9th, 20 points behind our teammate. With Lance Stroll dropping down to 10th. Mick Schumacher moving up into 11th, 30 points behind his teammate Lance Stroll. With Komario actually running off the top 12 for Toyota. Nico Hülkenberg drops down to 13th with 37 points, with Sebastian Buemi now in 14th on 33, which is actually the same amount of points he scored in 3 races back in 2014 in the Ferrari. Pierre Gasly now moves ahead of teammate Carlos Sainz now by 1 point, with Daniel Ricciardo in 17th with 21 points. Esteban Ocon is in 18th with 18 points, with Adrian Sutil in 19th on 3, Giovinazzi 20th on 2, Carmen Jorda 21st with also on 2 points even though it says 1, with Rui Harianto also with 1 point, and Thomas Aron now running off the point scorers now with 1 point, leaving only Nico Kari on 0 points. Moving on to the constructor standings, and sure it's not going to be long now till Ferrari wrap up the constructor standings, as they now have an 81 point lead back to Mercedes in 2nd, with Williams in 3rd on 264 points, only 22 points behind Mercedes. And if they have another race like they did today, then we actually could try and take 2nd place from Mercedes in the constructors. Red Bull are now in a world of their own in 4th, with Haas in 5th, still just about, only 6 points clear now of Toyota, who are in 6th, with Renault in 7th, Toro Rosso in 8th, Sauber now in 9th, with double the points of McLaren Honda, who are currently in 10th place and last. So that's been the Japanese Grand Prix. Thanks for watching. Remember to leave a like if you enjoyed the video, subscribe if you're new, leave a comment down below, vote for your driver of the day with the poll link that will be in the video description, and check out the F1 UniONE career with Kia for all the latest news on this season, a look back at previous seasons and a sneak peek of what's to come in the future. Thanks for watching, I'll see you all next time.